Welcome friends to a review of the 2025 Mazda CX-70. Well, this is going to be an easy review to make because this drives identical to the CX-90s, and that means this SUV is going to share the exact same pros and cons as the CX-90. But regardless, stay tuned until the end of this review where I'm going to share with you how you can save 9.5% off the MSRP of the Turbo S CX-70s, along with the plug-in hybrids, and on every trim level of the CX-90, you can save 9.5% off the MSRP. Once again, more on that towards the end. Right now, let's just get right into my driving impressions. So going into this review, I had a few expectations for this SUV. I thought that this was going to be a more ironed out version of the CX-90, so I was really excited to check this product out. And I thought this would be more ironed out because this is a 2025 model year, but no, there's no differences between this and the CX-90. So let's go ahead and let's talk about the good first. So all of the good things from the CX-90 include the steering rack, the high-speed stability, the braking performance. I do like this. The stopping power is good, but more importantly though, these vehicles, when you get on the brakes, it controls the brake dive really well. So there's a lot of high quality attributes like that sprinkled all throughout with both the CX-90 and the CX-70. So yeah, brakes, steering, handling around the long sweeping corners, that's also excellent. You just have a lot of confidence taking these corners. And we do have here the top of the line Turbo S with 340 horsepower. And for those who are interested, yes, there is a difference in power. You are able to notice just how much quicker the 340 horsepower Turbo S is compared to the base 280 horsepower engine. When you put your foot all the way down, there's no real point in doing that with most of these turbo Mazdas. The best way to experience these turbo engines is simply half throttle, and you notice that around town the Turbo S feels a lot more effortless. The 280 horsepower inline six, it feels like it's struggling more, but once again, that base engine, it's going to serve most families really well. And I also like the way these engines sound as well. It genuinely has some character, but another big pro regarding all of these inline six engines, it's going to be the highway fuel economy. You can genuinely get like 27, 28 mpg out on the highway. However, in the city, you are going to be getting closer to 18 to 20 mpg and not necessarily 23 or 24 like what Mazda suggests. And yes, with the higher output engine, you do have to use premium fuel to get 340 horsepower, or else the power drops to 319 if you use regular fuel. With the base engine, there is no benefit in using premium. You're going to get 280 horsepower no matter what. Something else to talk about are these wheels. So we have here the larger 21-inch wheels. You do notice that the ride quality is a bit more jittery compared to the 19-inch wheels. Not a drastic difference, but it is worth noting. Regardless though, if I was shopping for a CX-70, I would consider either the base, quote-unquote base, it's technically the preferred package, or I would simply step up to the premium. Even though it comes with the 21s, that premium trim level is going to give you the 12-speaker Bose audio system as well, which is an excellent unit. If you love your music, it's worth getting that Bose audio. So yeah, you don't really have to be afraid of these larger wheels. That's not an issue. Once again, the way this rides and handles, it's identical to the CX-90. I love how precise the steering is. You have a ton of confidence behind the wheel of these new Mazda SUVs. But real quick, what are some of the cons that have transferred over from the CX-90? Well, one, it's going to be the 8-speed automatic transmission. Once you're up to speed, I do like the way it performs, but at the slower speeds, I noticed that this 8-speed, it's a bit more jerky than some of the CX-90s that I've tested. No idea what's up with that, but yeah, I thought that they would really iron out that 8-speed auto. Other things to note, the iStop function So if you didn't know, these vehicles, they come with a 48-volt mild hybrid system. And that means that these vehicles, they will coast with the engine turned off when possible. And also, as you're coming to a stop, sometimes the engine will cut off, and that's normal. But then once you actually get to the stop, the engine might cut back on, and then it'll cut back off again. I would prefer it where, as you're coming to a stop with the engine turned off, just remain off, even when I come to a complete stop. That's what I want. I don't want the engine to cut back on and then cut back off again. The only other things I've noticed, it's going to be when you drive these SUVs really hard, and this probably isn't an issue with the vehicle. I think this is normal at this point, but with both the CX-70 and the CX-90, when you take your corners really hard and you floor it in the turns, you're going to notice this groaning/grinding sound, which some people have told me that it could be the differentials or the all-wheel drive system making that noise. Whatever the case is, these vehicles, they continue to make that subtle noise when being driven hard, but I guess it's normal. Aside from that, these are still great SUVs. They certainly feel a lot more special than its competitors. For instance, I would consider the Honda Pilot to be one of the best family SUVs out there. I would even go as far as to say that it even handles a bit better around your everyday turns than the CX-90s and this CX-70. But the thing with the Honda Pilot is it feels so boring to drive. It simply feels generic, it's not exciting, and it just feels robotic on your everyday drives. Whereas these Mazdas, they just feel special every time you get into it. And it's not just with the driving, it's also with the interior space as well. So let's go ahead and let's quickly talk about this interior space. This is going to be identical to the Turbo S CX-90 that I just got done reviewing, and it's even the same color interior as well. Let's start out with the door panel here. Phenomenal use of materials in the upper trim levels like we have here. I appreciate the suede, the leather, the stitching, and we have like this faux wood material. Basically feels like plastic, but whatever. It does look good. And we do have here the excellent 12-speaker Bose audio system, which if you love your music, it is worth stepping up to that, and I'll talk more about it in a moment. But regarding the door pocket space, there you go. You can fit a larger size bottle in there. Okay. Quick look at the interior. These seats, they look stunning. And because we have here the top of the line model with the suede insert here, your back support and even your bottom cushioning, it's going to be improved due to this suede Alcantara material. The full leather seats, they're also fine, but because they're full leather, they don't feel quite as soft and cushioned in the middle like we have here in the top of the line model. And I appreciate the quilted stitching and this little piping in the middle. Just adds a ton of character, and I do like this color as well. We have this two-tone Bentley-esque steering wheel here. Love that. Got some buttons here to access your trunk, memory seats, etc. Stepping inside. We can start up the vehicle. Push button start as you would expect. And because this is the top of the line, we have here the larger 12.3-inch infotainment screen with the full digital gauge cluster. And something almost everyone loves about the CX-90s and CX-70s is the physical buttons and switches that we have here for the HVAC. It's amazing, it's elegantly done, and we have here heated steering wheel and heated and cooled seats as well. I wish more car companies would utilize a system like this because it doesn't take anything away from the cabin. It's still a premium place to spend time, but I love how ergonomic this is. And by the way, the cooled seats work extremely well. So if you live in a hot climate, the cooled seats, it's definitely worth it. and it's touchscreen only when you're operating in Android Auto or in Apple CarPlay. Otherwise, the infotainment itself is not touch. You actually have to utilize this rotary knob, which is not a big deal. I do like Mazda's infotainment. It's minimalistic, it's elegant, and it's non-distracting. We do have a wireless charging pad here. Got your drive mode select, sport, normal, and off-road, and your gauges also change between these different modes. And I do like Mazda's digital gauge cluster. Once again, it's elegant and it's simple to use. All right. We also have a heads-up display, if you can see that. Love the suede material on the dash. I believe on other trim levels, I believe it's with the plug-in hybrids, you can get some type of a stitched cloth material and a white wood veneer. But here, with this brushed wood effect, I mean, I like it. It does look good. And similar to the CX-90, we have the same pros and cons, right? So the interior space, very solid. It's well put together. No issues there. No creaking or rattling. But we have here this goofy gear shifter, which almost nobody likes, but I do get the point of it. It's to lock out the park function. You get used to it when you live with the vehicle. Let's check out the backup camera. We do have a 360 here, which certainly helps parking this large SUV. Clarity is good, no problem. Cup holders are sort of on the smaller side. Everything is kind of on the smaller side. Like the center armrest space, not that large. You do have 2 USB-C ports. Glove box, it's dampened the way that it opens, and the space in there, it's average, it's okay. And as mentioned before, the Bose audio system, it does sound great. It's certainly better than its economy branded rivals like from Honda, Toyota, etc. We have nice, powerful bass. Clarity is good, but I will say things like the lower sounds or the lower frequencies, whatever you want to call it, it could be better. So this is still not on the level of the Mark Levinsons or the Acura ELS or the Burmesters from Mercedes-Benz, but this is still a great audio system and worth getting if you love your music. The standard audio system, the 8-speaker unit, it's okay. It just lacks life, but the clarity isn't bad. But the Bose is the way to go if you love your music. And for that reason, I would suggest stepping up one trim level from the base to get the Turbo Premium, and that way you will get the 12-speaker Bose audio system, and you're paying around 45, 46 grand for that, MSRP wise. But again, when you go with that premium, they do force you to get the 21s, and the 21-inch wheels, they don't ride terrible, as I already discussed in the driving segment. But there you have it, one last look. Once again, love the stitching, love the softness and the padding here for the center armrest and for this armrest on the door as well. It's like memory foam. So that's great to see. We do have here automatic headlights, as one would expect. I mean, you get that standard with the base models, and you also get auto windshield wipers. Once again, base models come with that as well. There's your paddle shifters. And yes, we do have here one-touch up and down windows for all 4 windows. And these front windows here, it is thicker double pane glass. And it does make a difference. The vehicle is slightly quieter, and it just gives it a more bank vault feel inside of the cabin. It doesn't like reflect as much noise due to the thicker glass. There's your sunglass holder, and we do have a pano moonroof here. And with that established, let's go ahead and let's check out the rear seats. With the CX-70 and the CX-90, you can open up these rear doors 90 degrees. So it makes it really easy to fit your car seats in the back. And these top of the line models, they do come with these window shades as well, right? Quick look at the seats. Once again, The high quality seats and the detail work, all of that continues in the back as well. I am 5'11". The seat is set to my position. Getting in and out, not a problem with these SUVs. And of course, I do have good legroom here, but it's not mind-boggling by any means. Most people, they just expect more from this size of vehicle. But clearly, you can fit adults in here without any issues. And you do have good knee and good toe room as well underneath these front seats. Even with the base vehicles, you will be getting HVAC in the rear. But here we also have heated seats in the back as well, and 2 USB-C ports. Got a bit of a hump here, but you can certainly squeeze in the middle if you needed to. There's a good look at the interior right there. Okay. And essentially, this is a CX-90 without the third row. So let's go ahead and let's check out the trunk now. All right, let's open up this trunk here. You can open it up with your key fob, but the vehicle is running, so the SUV will not let you open up the trunk with your key fob with the engine running. Yeah, there you go. It's the exact same trunk space that you get when you have the CX-90 with the third row seats folded down, which means it's extremely practical. It's a ton of space. And with these higher trim levels, you do get the household outlet in the back. And you can easily drop down the second row seats by pressing these 2 buttons. There you have it. It'll go down a bit more. Underneath, we have some, not really storage. That's another complaint that people have. You have a few subtle trays here, but not a whole lot of storage underneath. But the SUV does make up for it by providing you with a spare tire underneath, which is great to see. That means you do not have to utilize run flat tires with the CX-90 or the CX-70. With that established, let's go ahead and let's conclude this review. Okay, concluding thoughts on the 2025 Mazda CX-70. Yes, this is literally just a 2-row version of the CX-90 with a new front bumper on it. That's literally it. And that's kind of sad. Yeah, I want more vehicles to come out using this inline-6, but this was a great opportunity for Mazda to come out with a really hot, stylish design, you know, something along the lines of the VW Atlas. I forgot exactly what they call that model, but that coupe version of the Atlas, it looks a bit better than the regular 3-row counterpart. They could have done something like that here, a more coupe-like design. But oh well, there's no point in dwelling on that because we have what we have here. And sure, MSRP-wise, depending on which trim level that you are looking at, this is a bit cheaper than the CX-90. And I'm not just going to say that this is totally pointless. There's a lot of people, like myself included, that like to drive around in larger, more substantial vehicles because it gives us a nice sensation of safety and stability at higher speeds. And not to mention, you get a nice big practical automobile. But going back to the safety aspect, yes, these vehicles, they are IIHS top safety pick models, and that means these are genuinely one of the safest new cars that you can buy. And as mentioned in the driving and with the interior segment, the car simply feels special compared to any of the other generic Toyotas, Hondas, etc. Sure, a lot of those other competing products can serve more families a bit better, but none of them are going to feel quite as special, substantial, and regal like this CX-70/CX-90. No matter which trim level you go with, you are getting a gorgeous, well-crafted interior space, ergonomic and useful technology, good seating position, and a driving demeanor that genuinely transcends the competition despite some of its compromises. Anyway, As mentioned at the beginning of this video, here's how you can save 9.5% off the MSRP on certain trim levels of the CX-70 and almost every trim level of the CX-90. You can reach out to AutoCompanion, who is one of the largest brokers in the United States. He has partnered dealerships in the Washington, D.C. area, and he is able to ship nationwide. I've purchased 2 vehicles through AutoCompanion, never had an issue with shipping. The process has always been seamless, but shipping is something you have to pay extra for. But with those substantial discounts that I mentioned, along with the incentivized lease programs / finance programs, these SUVs genuinely become a good value proposition for most families who want something special and elevated over generic rivals. But if you're leasing, I would definitely get the CX-90 because the interest rate, it's almost 0% actually, whereas the interest rate of the CX-70 lease deals, it's closer to 2%, which certainly isn't bad, but I believe there's pretty good finance deals as well for both SUVs. And you can get the discounts whether you finance, lease, or pay cash, doesn't matter. But in the description box below, I will also have a free leasing calculator provided to you by AutoCompanion. This is a powerful tool because it shows you the interest rate of a lease, the residual values, and the incentives that you can get in your local area. So no matter what your buying method is, use that calculator to see those incentives, because incentives stack on top of the dealer discount. So if you qualify for Mazda loyalty, or for whatever reason they have some type of lease cash available, that's going to be able to stack on top of AutoCompanion's discount. And interest rates, lease programs, incentives, all of these things, they do change every month, but AutoCompanion's calculator will also update every month. You can also see some of these incentives on Mazda's own website, and that's also where you can see the promotional finance deals in your area as well. Sometimes they might even offer an incentive along with the promotional finance rates. That's also great. That's also worth looking into. But regarding the discounts on the CX-70, right now he's only advertising the 9.5% off on the Turbo S models. I haven't seen him advertise anything for the regular CX-70s with 280 horsepower, but with the mid and the upper trim level plug-in hybrid CX-70, he is offering the same 9.5% off. And as mentioned before, almost every trim level of the CX-90 comes with 9.5% off. So play around with those resources, see which model is going to fit best for you and your family, as well as your budget. And if you want to work with AutoCompanion, he does charge a broker fee, but if you sign up with my affiliate link in the description box below, he will take some money off of his broker fee. And if you found value with this content, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you again for watching. Take care and goodbye.